When the Raptors won the 2019 NBA championship, they made history, not only by being the first ever Canadian team to claim the sacred Larry O'Brien trophy, but they also changed the NBA forever. How did they do that exactly? Let's find out. Welcome to Amateur Sports. This is Jacob Tucker here talking again about the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors content is heating up lately. We're going in again talking about how the Raptors changed the NBA forever. This is how they truly made history with that NBA championship. They were the first team in the draft lottery era to win the championship without a single player picked in a lottery position. Yes, the highest picked player on the Toronto Raptors for that championship was Kawhi Leonard, who was selected 15th overall by the Indiana Pacers in 2011. In fact, only 4 players on that entire Toronto Raptors roster went in the first round. Kawhi Leonard, like I said, Kyle Lowry, who went 24th overall in 2006, Pascal Siakam, who went 27th overall in 2016, and Serge Ibaka, who went 24th overall in 2008. And maybe the Raptors only drafted one of those players, but they had to make the trades to acquire these players. I mean, Kawhi Leonard was drafted by Indiana but never played for them, a hidden gem found by the San Antonio Spurs. Kyle Lowry was traded to the Raptors for Gary Forbes and a future first-round pick. Gary Forbes never played in the NBA again after that trade, and we'll give away a first-round pick for the greatest Raptor of all time. Pascal Siakam went 27th overall, yet mock drafts would have him 2nd overall for that draft, only behind Giannis, and that's an obvious one. The Raptors have this knack for finding these players in later positions in the draft. I mean, they have Norman Powell, who was drafted 46th overall, and Norman Powell, the reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Week, by the way. Norman Powell is starting shooting guard caliber for a lot of teams in the NBA, and it's great that the Raptors can utilize him as a 6th man, basically. Fred VanVleet went undrafted and was absolutely pivotal in winning that NBA championship. I mean, 22 second half points in the ultimate Game 6 of that NBA Finals. Fred VanVleet was outstanding. He's been outstanding, especially considering he was undrafted. So here's how the Raptors changed the NBA. You no longer need to tank in order to rebuild your team. What you can do is put an emphasis on scouting and developing these players. Like, look at the New York Knicks. How long have they been tanking? Yet they're still an absolute fucking joke in the NBA. They are abysmal. They fucking stink. Yet they have so many of these high picks. I mean, Kevin Knox was taken 9th overall in 2018. Frank Ntilikina was taken 8th overall in 2017. They didn't have a pick in 2016 in the first round. But then in 2015, they took Kristaps Porzingis 4th overall, and finally a good pick, but they've traded him because they couldn't build a good team around him. It's not about just drafting. It's about finding the players that others can't, finding that hidden gem, the needle in the haystack, the one that sticks out, and developing that player into something great, utilizing your G League to build up players. See, a lot of teams, like only really the Raptors and Miami off the top of my head, are really utilizing their G League affiliates to really improve players. Like you see with Nunn on Miami. He's playing in his rookie season after being so good in the G League last year. And now he's so good right now for the Miami Heat. He's pivotal in their successes this season. And if they are going to make a playoff run, he's going to be at the forefront of it. So the notion that bad teams just need to tank in order to get better is gone. It's been eradicated because sure, some teams can still do that and find some success, and maybe like the Pelicans will find solace in the fact that they got such a lucky draft and got Zion Williamson. The NBA lottery is a lottery for that reason. It's hard to get that first overall pick, and even if you're in the mix, it's hard to find that good player. Like Pascal Siakam is probably 2nd overall in a mock draft for 2016, like I said, but he was drafted 27th overall. So why can't these other teams find these hidden gems like the Raptors are finding? I mean, even with Kyle Lowry, even though they didn't draft him, they saw the potential that he had, and they traded away, a non-existent player, Gary Forbes, and a first-round pick, and it was totally worth it. They knew how underrated he was, and they abused that, and they acquired him for their team. And maybe we didn't draft Norman Powell either, but we saw his ability and we traded for him and we got him from the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks were on the rise at that point, but they didn't see what Norman Powell had to offer. Now he's an absolutely pivotal part of the Raptors setup. Nobody even drafted Fred VanVleet, who is a starting point guard worthy player, and he has been starting at point guard or shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors. I think if he continues on his trajectory, he could be an all-star one day, maybe featuring 1 or 2 times on an all-star team. So why do teams see the need to just tank all the time to get their players? I mean, why don't you try to be competitive? And as you're trying to win as many games as possible, the guys on your team are going to improve. Not like, Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox. Like, Kevin Knox has loads of potential to be a great player, but he doesn't have a team that can help him improve. And Kevin Knox has been absolutely horrid this year, and so is Ntilikina. I think they're both averaging under 7 points. But they're not really in an environment in which they can thrive. And I know the Knicks are a fucking joke of an organization, but other teams can, look at this and decide, maybe we don't need to just try to be the worst team in the league, get the first overall pick. Let's try to win games with this team. Let them develop naturally. If we have to use the G League systems to develop them further, give them more play time, let them get some confidence, because you throw a guy who's not ready into the NBA just so you don't look bad, and he's going to lose his confidence. He's going to start to regress, and maybe he won't be able to fulfill that potential. But utilize the G League to get these players the confidence they need to succeed at the next level. Slowly build them in, slowly fill them into the roster where they can, work their way in. They can start by walking, and eventually near the end of it, they're starting to sprint in the NBA. They are mainstays, pivotal players for your NBA team. It's not about just finding that one player and building around, because, it's such an anomaly that the Raptors won the NBA championship with only one real superstar player. It seems like every team these days needs to have 2 or 3 of those to win an NBA championship. That's because they put out such a great team around Kawhi Leonard. It was already a great team before Kawhi Leonard showed up, and Kawhi Leonard showed up and brought them to that next level. Now that Kawhi Leonard's gone, it's still a great team, and I feel like they can really go for an NBA championship again and repeat this year. I talked about that in yesterday's video, really in depth, if you want to go check that out. So it is time for teams to stop tanking to build up a new team. Go let these young players, go acquire these young players and let them build up, let them develop naturally by just playing NBA games, going out there trying to win, because it's such negative energy when your front office and fans secretly want you to lose more games so that you get a better draft pick. Go out there and try to win games, let them develop, and really, really focus on scouting these good players. Don't just go through hype. Find the players that you think are going to help your organization. Find the players that you can really build into your team, into your philosophy and system. Guys like Pascal Siakam going late in the first round, and maybe a bit of surprise there, but wow. What a player Pascal Siakam has turned out to be. He's a potential MVP candidate in the future, averaging almost 24 points per game so far this season. Go find those kind of players. Go find the Fred VanVleet, the Norman Powells, those kind of players. And stop just trying to lose and trusting a process in order to get there. Sure, it worked for Philly, but, are they really quite at that level they need to be? Do they really have the pieces around Embiid and Simmons that they need to properly succeed? I don't think so, and I think this season kind of highlighted why they weren't able to truly succeed, because they don't have the correct players around Embiid and Simmons to really thrive. They need those shooters, but it's on the front office for not acquiring those players to complement these two big players. Really focus on acquiring the players that will complement the philosophy and complement the better players on the team. That is how a team is going to succeed, and by doing that, you enable your team to go out and win a championship like the Toronto Raptors did last season, and like they can do this season and go back to back. That wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying putting out this Raptors content. Let me know if you're enjoying it too, or what else you want to see on the channel. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Please like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this. Starting to find my enjoyment for doing these videos again. Really happy with what I'm doing at the moment. Hopefully the audience can continue to grow like it is, maybe grow a little bit more exponentially. But I appreciate every single one of you who's rocking with me, who's rocking with these videos, who likes the content. I really truly appreciate it. It means a lot that there are people out there who genuinely enjoy the content I put out. But at the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that's okay. We'll see you again next time.